them that we're about to watch.
Did you make props? Is that what you were doing this morning?
Next live.
On your marks.
Get set. Bake!
Ellie Kemper from the Great American Baking Show.
Hooray!
Plus, ABC News' Deborah Roberts. And if you watch on DVR, set it to record live with Kelly and Mark.
Weekdays at 9 a.m. on WDAY, WDAZ.
I started drinking more to deal with stress. Without my realizing it, alcohol took over my life. At Alcoholics Anonymous, I've found help from people who know what I've been through. Now, I have hope. Alcoholics Anonymous. Look for us in the phone book or on the web at aa.org.
You're watching WDAY Extra. Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. I was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Hot Mic. Hot Mic. On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo. Dom Izzo.
Good Monday morning. This is a new month edition of Hot Mic on WDAY Extra. Inforum.com and a new affiliate to find us this morning. New month, new viewers, we hope, are going to take us in here on this first day of May 2023. The sun is out. The weather has finally turned for us. The NFL draft is finally in the rearview mirror. We can actually talk about players heading to a specific location. Good morning, everybody. I am Dom Izzo, host of said show. Welcome to Hot Mic. And for people waking up this morning in South Dakota, specifically Sioux Falls, good morning to you on KSFL, a new affiliate that we bought. Foreign Communications did a few months ago. And lo and behold, Hot Mic is making its debut in South Dakota this morning. So we are really, really, really excited about that. And for those I know that have come up to me, whether it's been in Frisco, whether we've been in Brookings, and certainly in Sioux Falls when we were there at the Summer League basketball tournament, that have told me, hey, we watch your show, we listen to your show. Now you can watch it on TV. And we're really excited about that. So for those in South Dakota that this is new to you, I apologize for the volume. I was born that way. There's nothing much I can do about that. And welcome to our program. We like to have some fun here for 2 hours each and every day and talk some sports and anything else that tickles my fancy on that, whether it's anything from Star Wars, and it's a big week for Star Wars nerds out there, by the way. May the 4th is Thursday, so we'll prep accordingly for that. To our friends at Seinfeld, anything that normally comes up, we will talk about it under the sun. So for those taking us in for the first time, welcome. Good morning. We hope you like what we are able to give you. And for you viewers in South Dakota, we will have a touch of even for something you'll be interested in today. I firmly believe that. So welcome aboard and enjoy the ride. We have some fun here and like to chat about pretty much anything that's going on under the sun, sports-related wise, whether it's Missouri Valley football, Summit League basketball, you name it, we normally hit it here for our 2 hours each and every day. So good morning. We're excited you're here. And for our viewers that have been with us since we started doing this in November of 2020, that we were exclusively on TV. We had television in February of 2020. We've been doing this for a bit. So for the people that have been with us for a while on Extra, I appreciate that. And now we can welcome some new viewers onto the boat. We're really pumped about that. We have been you say guinea pigs, the first over the wall, however you want to describe it. We have done that and taken it, and we're excited about where things are going. So that's a great way to start our Monday show. With that said, hope everybody had a great weekend, took in whatever you could sports-wise. Obviously, the draft was the headline deal. And for those that watched our show Friday night from Hankinson, we got a lot of comments, a lot of feedback about that. Really appreciate that. That was a group effort from 10 or so that decided to do this, and it came together really, really well. Of course, capped off by, we were just there to document what happened. Cody Mauch was the star of the show on Friday night, and it was electric like I thought it would be. It was loud like I thought it would be. It had every single emotion that I thought would be there, and capped off by the Buccaneers trading up to take Mauch with the 48th overall pick in the second round of the NFL draft. And now it is off to the real world. He's on his way to Tampa. Rookie camp will get going and officially meet the team, be introduced by the team, get the jersey, the whole 9 yards. All that is coming in the next couple of days, which we'll feature that as well here on the show when that officially goes down. It was just, I've had the privilege to be in Chicago when Carson Wentz was drafted. We documented with Trey Lance was a different deal in Cleveland. Last year, doing this show here on draft night when Christian Watson got picked to share that moment with him and his dad. Literally, it was just a few moments after Aaron Rodgers had called him. And then last night, or on Friday night, with what happened with Cody, though those shouldn't get old. The fact that we've done this now a few times, I kind of still shake my head at that it's gone down that often, but it still doesn't take away the excitement, the newness, the just the raw emotion of it. And you got that from it certainly seemed like each member of the Mauch family. Cody's older brother Carter was sitting right next to me on my left when the pick went in. I was just watching it again this morning. We're going to play that later on in the show. That was pretty raw, pretty awesome stuff. So appreciate the good words, and we'll dive more into this coming up later on in the show. We'll begin, though, with the Twins. Apparently, they're still playing baseball. That season did not stop the fact that everybody was talking about the draft over the last 4 or 5 days. The Twins wrapped up their homestand yesterday with the Kansas City Royals, who are not really in the boat to win, so to speak, for 2023. The Twins have guys going down left and right. We're going to get to that in a second. But the pitchers that are still pitching, Sonny Gray, Joe Ryan doing all right. Yesterday, though, it was the bats that were outstanding, led by this man, Byron Buxton, who's still not playing the outfield, but he's still crushing the ball. This was absolutely hammered to left field for a 3-run shot. That wasn't even the best part about it. The best part about it was him coming around the bases, and apparently the Twins have now a new home run celebration that we got our first glimpse at yesterday after he goes into the dugout and is handed a vest there to put on, and it says Land of 10,000 Rakes on it. Apparently this is an idea from Carlos Correa. Just fantastic. And we'll see where this goes. He's got a fishing pole, the whole 9 yards. My son has that same pole. We have that same one. After that, the Twins couldn't stop hitting the ball. There, another RBI single there. It was a 4-0 game from Nick Gordon. Made it 5-rip. Willie Castro goes to right field. That made it a 6-0 game. Christian Vasquez added on with 2 more runs to come in. Again, the Royals aren't necessarily a team that's going to be very good this entire season. They came in 7-21 on the year. This from Vasquez. I love opposite field hitting. That would score Gordon and Castro. Made it 8-0 in the third inning. More than enough for the Twins as they would beat the Royals. 8-4 is the final and take 3 of 4 from Kansas City in the process. Sonny Gray, not seen here, was not as dominant as he was in his last start. Still pretty darn good. 6 innings, 5 hits. He actually allowed a run, only the 3rd run he's given up all season, as you saw on the screen there. 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. as the Twins finish the homestand with an 8-4 win. Look at that ERA now, 0.77. Actually went up because he gave up a run. Went from 0.29 to 0.77 because he gave up a run yesterday. In the process now, the Twins have extended out their lead in the American League Central. They take a 3.5-game lead on the road as they'll open up a series with the the White Sox, this Tuesday. They're 3.5. This division is, we're at May. Can we say it's awful? Have we played enough that now it's awful? They're 3.5 up on the Guardians, 6 up on the Tigers, 9 up on the White Sox, 10 up on the Royals. The White Sox are horrendous, and that's where the Twins will start a series with on Tuesday, as they'll start a road swing. Now they're actually going to start playing division foes. We mentioned that when Dick Bramer joined us, and for our new viewers in Sioux Falls, Dick Bramer joins us each and every Wednesday on the show. They'll play this entire week against the AL Central. White Sox Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then the Guardians over the weekend on Friday, Saturday, Sunday for they get some National League West teams coming in. It's just brutal. Now, that's the good side. The bad side is Twins starting pitchers are going down like nobody's business. Kenta Maeda is going to be out for a while with arm weakness, tightness, however you want to describe it. It's not good. Maeda's been beat up. That doesn't even count for the fact that he got bashed in the leg in that line drive in Fenway. Tyler Mahle's going to be shut down as well. According, they had MRI and X-rays on his pitching elbow. Says it's going to take at least a month to heal. Not good news considering Mahle was shut down early last year after the Twins got him from the Reds. This goes on top of the fact, remember, they traded for Chris Paddock, and he's missing probably this entire season with Tommy John. This is now 2 pitching trades out of the last couple that I don't know if they've traded for damaged goods. Remember, they gave up one of their top prospects to the Reds in this deal. So Mahle's done for the next month. Likely Louis Varland is coming up to start on Wednesday for the Twins. So, again, we talked about all this depth, having more starters, all this added depth in the rotation. Well, suddenly now you're going to need it. No Maeda, no Mahle for the next bit. Now, Gray and Ryan have been tremendous. The best, that's the 1-2 you want for a rotation. That's what the Twins have sorely been lacking. They have needed that in the worst way possible. Pablo Lopez has been really good. Now, granted, since he got his extension, he's been beaten up a little bit. He won the game on Friday, but that's been a good 1-2-3. They've brought Bailey Ober back up, and I thought Ober may have earned a job out of spring training for how well he pitched, and likely it's going to be Varland as the next guy up. So you've got pieces, but now we'll see how good this depth is with Ober and Varland, because they're going to get at least a few chances in the rotation with the injuries to Maeda and Mahle. This is where things went sideways for the Twins last year, and now it's going to be tested right off the hop here in the second month of the season. As we said, and Eric was telling me in my ears here, the division is horrendous, on pace for less than 70 wins for some of these teams. So you got to take advantage, knowing full well you're not playing the AL Central as much as you did in the past, because now you play everybody on the schedule. So Twins on the road. They'll open up a series we mentioned with the White Sox coming up tomorrow. I know everyone's seen the video twice over, maybe more so. I want to play it again because one of our great producers, he does everything, graphics, everything. Matt Hopper got this piece of video from our show on Friday when we were down at Hankinson when Cody Mauch was drafted. The best part, and we'll show it later on as well, because our cameras caught Cody on the phone. The best part was our crew trying to signal to me that Cody was on the phone because communication was a bit difficult on Friday. But you didn't see this on ESPN, ABC, or NFL Network. You saw it with us, this kind of reaction shot. And it was as genuine as you could think. And the best part about this is Carter, his brother, literally, I told him, get over there after he had picked. He shared maybe 30 seconds with us. I'm like, you know what? That was fantastic. He held up the hat. Then when his bro came in, that to me I thought was one of the best moments of the night. And we'll have more on this coming up as our show goes on this morning. Tampa was picking 50th. They actually traded up with Green Bay to move into that spot. So, and Jason Light, the general manager of the Buccaneers, said, you know, we knew that he was coveted. We wanted him. We went up and got him. And I'm trimming down that conversation of what he said at his press conference on Friday night, but those were the words there. And Tampa was a team that Cody had taken several meetings with, both at the Senior Bowl and the Combine. So as he told us on air on Friday night, that they were really interested in him and knew that might be a potential landing spot. The best part about it was once the trade was made and the phone call came in, and we'll go into this more as the show goes on, that you saw each pick come off. I think it was New England and Washington picked before Tampa. The entire room, and they were going silent basically from the start of the 32nd pick to the 47th pick. It was like you were in a library for those when the little sounder went off to say, hey, the pick is in. It was unbelievable. And then as soon as literally the commissioner got the syllables out of code, the place went absolutely berserk. It went absolute crazy. And it was something else to be there for it. And we're going to have much more on that as our show goes on this morning. We have our usual Monday way to start our show. We'll do our best of the weekend coming up here in just a few minutes. At 9:35, Jeff Kolpack will join us from the Forum of Fargo-Moorhead. He was down in Hankinson to document what went down this weekend as Mauch is selected with the 48th overall pick. That we were not without some Bison football news this weekend. One of the men that went into the transfer portal has a new destination. Dom Jones announced that. We'll discuss that with Jeffrey coming up at 9:35. At 10 o'clock, the voice of the Jackrabbits, Tyler Merriam, will join us to discuss another FCS player drafted. The next one besides Cody Mauch was Tucker Kraft. He went in the 3rd round to the Green Bay Packers. We'll discuss that as Kraft was the next South Dakota State Jackrabbits select. Another tight end drafted on day 2. Dallas Goedert, of course, you remember, was the 2nd-round pick of the Philadelphia Eagles in 2018. And now 5 years later, we see Kraft go in the 3rd round of the Packers. We'll get an update on everything South Dakota State with Tyler coming up at 10 o'clock. We'll also recap the Vikings weekend. It was a different one, is maybe the best way to describe what Minnesota did this weekend, including drafting a quarterback, and not the one that anybody thought that the Vikings did. They did that on Saturday. We'll get into that as well before we say so long. So we're off and rolling here on a Monday. Let's get it started. We'll be back after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL, and Inforum.com. Back right after this.
Our crews break down every angle of the biggest stories. WDAY News.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Cody Mauch.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers take Cody Mauch from North Dakota State and Hankinson, North Dakota. Now that it's over and done with, what's the reaction? What's the feeling?
Ready to freaking play football again. Now I'm just excited to just go down to Tampa Bay and actually play some football.
Count on the news leader, WDAY News.
We need to go meet the guys. I'm lit. Can you drive?
Nope, I'm high. How about they come over?
Where?
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different.
Everyone who has ever lived has lived here. All of mankind's triumphs and failures. Every moment, every hometown, all here. We start our coverage on the ground and take it to the airwaves, so you always know what's happening in your own world and beyond. We are free TV and radio. We are breaking news. We are always there. We are broadcasters.
They come to us, abandoned, lost, and all alone, in need of care through no fault of their own. They ask so little, but give so much. All they seek in return, a loving home and a gentle touch. They warm your heart with a wet-nosed kiss or gentle purr, proving that a pet's a gift of love wrapped up in fur. Stop in today at the Homeward Animal Shelter. We'll bring you and your new best friend together.
At No Kid Hungry, we're committed to creating a world where every kid eats healthy food every day. We raise funds, we help families, and we lift up communities. And we're ending childhood hunger in America.
911, what is your emergency?
Every day we encounter people who are having the worst day of their entire lives.
Does it get any easier?
Nope.
It takes a certain kind of person to run towards danger rather than run away from it.
Why is this job so important to you?
Growing up, I never saw any heroes who looked like me.
And that's what a hero looks like.
Help is on the way.
Sundays at 8 p.m.
I'm Tyne Morgan, host of U.S. Farm Report. Join me right here each weekend as we explore the news and issues that matter most to agriculture. We know each year farmers and ranchers are thrown challenges, but as agriculture continues to adapt, we are right there with you. From markets to weather, we take a deep dive into what matters most to agriculture and rural America.
Saturdays at 6 a.m.
Overcoming drug addiction was difficult, but I found the path to recovery that worked for me. Treatment helped me come to terms with the issues in my life that caused me to use drugs. And I found better ways to cope. Learning I had a substance use disorder helped me realize I needed to make a change. The road to recovery is different for everyone. There were good days and bad days. But I found strength in seeking help. My friends and family made a huge difference in my recovery. I never gave up. I found my path, and I keep walking it every day. Find the path that works for you. Learn more at cdc.gov/stopoverdose.
We do each and every Monday is our best of the weekend. Let's roll the music, boys, and let's begin with the Bison baseball team, which hosted this weekend against Western Illinois. Home opener comes on April 28th. Better late than never, which never was a distinct possibility when just a couple weeks ago we had snow. Tyler Oaks' team has been waiting to play at Newman, and boy, they came out in spades. And I understand you're going to look at the league standings and say, well, holy Christmas, Western Illinois is not very good. Well, you can't help who you play. And the Bison swept Western Illinois. Here's the part that's intriguing to me. All the games were run ruled. They ended after 8 innings on Friday, 7 innings on Saturday, and yesterday they scored 21. They put up 3 touchdowns, the most runs they've scored in a game since 2008, to win 21-3. The Bison would have done that to Western Illinois in football. They did it on the baseball diamond this weekend. In the process, now 10-5 in Summit League play. They'll step out to play the Huskers coming up on Wednesday, then back on the road at Northern Colorado. After that, they've got 2 series left at home, Omaha and then the Jackrabbits to wrap up the regular season. It seems like a foregone conclusion that Oral Roberts is going to be the number 1 seed. Remember, the Summit League baseball tournament is here in Fargo for the first time coming up Memorial Day weekend. But the Bison could easily get into that 2 spot. They're fighting with the Jacks in Omaha. And Omaha had a rough weekend this weekend with St. Thomas. So congrats there to Tyler Oaks' team for a heck of a performance. From the hockey rink last night, if you watched it, we had 2 Game 7s in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Started Florida playing Boston. Now, we've talked about the Bruins through the last, 5 or 6 weeks, that Boston had the best year in the history of hockey. They won 65 games during the regular season. But yet they were pushed to the brink by the Panthers last night. They gave up 2 goals. They fell behind 2-0 in this game. It's game 7. They have to win. They score here to go up 3-2. Does Boston thinking, okay, everything's going to be all right. They're going to rescue this game. And then the Panthers get the game-tying goal with under a minute to go in regulation time. As that one ties it up, Brad Montour scores, and we're 3-3, and we're going to overtime. In overtime, how about this? A minute in, the Panthers get a chance to win it, but are denied on the breakaway, and we play on. But for not that much longer. Puck comes here on the side of the net. Carter Verhaeghe with a perfect wrist shot. Roofs it, and the Panthers, it's hard to say, pull off the greatest upset in playoff history by beating the Boston Bruins 4-3 in overtime. They win the series 4-3. Remember, Boston won 65 games in the regular season. They were the best team in the history of the NHL in terms of regular season play. And they're done. They led 3-1 in this series. The Panthers won Game 5 in Boston, won Game 6 on Friday night. Remember seeing that when we were in Hankinson. Like, why? Florida forced a Game 7? And then they win Game 7 and send Boston packing. Monster win there. It'll be Florida and Toronto in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Keep it on the ice. Yesterday, the U18 World Championships wrapped up. The United States was facing off against Sweden for the gold medal. For you hockey lovers out there, this is the same tournament that the United States won in Fargo in 2009, way back then at Shields Arena. The U.S. has been really good in this tournament, and they were great again yesterday. Let's show it to you what happened. Down 2-1 in the third period. U.S., though, with the puck. They score here to tie the game late in regulation. Sending everyone there crazy. Game goes to overtime. Just over 2 minutes into the extra session here, the United States has the puck. Ryan Leonard will come into the zone. How about this shot across the grain? It goes in for the game winner, the golden goal in overtime. And the U.S. comes back they were down 2 in that game. In Switzerland, they beat Sweden. 3-2 is the final to win the gold medal. They have been amazing in this tournament over the last, I'd say, decade and a half, starting when they won the tournament here in Fargo in 2009. And they win it again yesterday. And the guys that are on the ice here, they're playing, you are going to see in college hockey in the not-too-distant future, and some of them, of course, in the National Hockey League. This goes on top of the fact the U.S., of course, won the Women's World Hockey Championship a couple of weeks ago. Now they bring home the U18 title. Congratulations to Team USA. Pretty good stuff. We're a hockey juggernaut. I don't know if you know this. Women's hockey, men's youth hockey, we can't lose. Lastly, before we wrap up our best of the weekend, this news may come as, for you deniers out there, and I know there are a few, is a bit of a shock. Our good friends at the Forum, and I confirmed this as well, they reported it first, that, can I say this now without getting people upset? Former North Dakota State standout Grant Nelson has received an invite to the ultra-exclusive NBA Combine. Combine will take place later this month in Chicago. This is something that he and his team were hopeful for, and now he's received it. Max Asmus, the last from the Summit League to get an invite to the Combine. We know for Max, when he went a couple years ago in 2021, did not go well. Of course, Asmus, by the way, the news, if you missed it, late last week announced he's transferring to Texas to spend his final season of collegiate eligibility. All right, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm a great NBA Combine mind, because I am not. I will tell you the Combine is May 16th through the 18th in Chicago. This is going to test everything. They actually do play basketball as well. It's not like football where they're out running 40s and 3-cone drills. They actually do get on the floor and play hoops against one another. Now, they do test some interesting things. They test standing reach, height without shoes. I love that. Wingspan, max vertical leap, standing vertical leap. I can't even imagine what mine would be. Lane agility, shuttle run, and 3/4 sprint. They do that. So those are what they test. I will tell you, though, they don't invite everybody. I know people saw the stat because I tweeted this out late last week that 240 some odd guys applied for early entry into the draft. Understood, not all of them are going to stay in the draft. But I think we can sit here on May 1. He has till the end of the month to decide. But I think we can say on May 1, he ain't coming back. And I first said that he's not coming back to NDSU. I don't think he's coming back to school. I said that when he made it official a couple weeks ago that he was declaring for the draft. I didn't think that even transferring to another school was a real strong option. I really don't believe it now. He's got this that I think professional basketball is next up. So for those that enjoyed the draft watch party we did in Hankinson over the weekend, we may have another coming to Devil's Lake here in about 7 weeks. Think about that, folks, with Hankinson and Devil's Lake, North Dakota being represented in the NFL, in the NBA draft. Wild stuff. We're due for a break. Jeff Kolpack will be around the bend. We'll discuss plenty of that with him and much more on the NDSU side of things as we roll on a Monday morning on Hot Mic on WDAY Extra, KSFL, Inforum.com. We're back after this.
On the next Cameron Hall, 3-time Tony Award winner, Broadway legend Cheetah Rivera. From West Side Story to Bye Bye Birdie and Chicago, it is safe to say she really is all that jazz. Cheetah's new memoir takes us behind the curtain to reveal the highs and lows of her trailblazing Broadway career. And after 45 years, Bob Fosse's legendary show, Dancin', is back on Broadway, a performance from the show you don't want to miss. Next Cameron Hall.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. on WDAY WDAZ.
For those who have a challenge getting around, consider a rollator or scooter from Corner Home Medical. Corner Home Medical has a wide variety of mobility products and trained professionals to assist in finding the right solution for you. And rise easier with one of our comfortable lift chairs, offered in a variety of different sizes, colors, and fabrics. Corner Home Medical, providing you the best medical equipment. It's your healthcare, it's your choice. Choose the best.
Corner Home Medical, we're there for you, 'cause you got a lot of living to do.
Plains Art Museum invites you to open your mind and embrace the unknown at our annual Spring Gala, Wonderland. Join us on Saturday, May 6th for an evening of wonderment and delight, including an art auction featuring more than 100 local, regional, and national artists. Music by Mae Simpson and Star 4. Hors d'oeuvres by Chef's Table and Urban Foods Catering. Delicious desserts from Nicole's Fine Pastry and Cafe. And a wine tasting with Happy Harry's Bottle Shops. Tickets are available now at plainsart.org.
Love me tender, love me sweet, never let me go. You have made my life complete, and I love you so. Love me tender, love me dear, tell me you are mine. I'll be yours through all the years, till the end of time. Love me tender, love me true, all my fulfilled. For my darling, I love you, and I always will.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 in the morning, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. He asked all his therapists to help him undertake some of the house chores. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey.
It's that time. An author.
Offensive production, number 1. Number 2, I forgot.
Golfer.
It'd be like going on a 3-person best shot, and we were saying, Kolpack, you got to make a 25-footer every time. You wouldn't putt first. I'd have Tim putt first.
And one heck of a TV personality.
This game is for the Cooper Cup.
It's the Forum's Jeff Kolpack.
4! I should have yelled 2.
As we welcome everybody back here on a Monday morning, our usual Monday 9:35 visit with Jeff Kolpack from the Forum of Fargo-Moorhead, who's a big guy in Sioux Falls. You could say good morning to our Sioux Falls audience today. We're live today and on KSFL. We're a big deal,
we're getting big.
Big deal.
We're getting big.
Big deal.
I texted my friends in Sioux Falls.
Yes.
And
make sure to watch.
Absolutely.
I'm going to list a thing of names here for you. Ready? It's gonna go a little bit. Watson, Lance, Hayes, Jabril Cox, Lipke, Jensen, Volson, Zach Johnson, Mauch, Radens, Babbage, Ellison, Gindorf, Tuska, Wagee. You know what that is?
It's a lot of Bison players that were drafted or signed as free agents.
That is members of the 2019 North Dakota State football team that are playing professional football.
How many?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 guys off an FCS team.
That's incredible.
And we're not done yet because I think there's at least 2 more that have got a chance that are still playing on the team. In Jalen Sundell and Eli Mostard, I think both of them are going to get NFL looks as well. They could have 17, but 15 right now. 15 after what happened this weekend. We had this conversation when that season ended, when they beat James Madison. Like, okay, who is it, 2013 or 2019? I think 13 always got the nod, Kolpack, because they beat Kansas State, and the 19 team didn't get a chance to play an FBS opponent. This here, the 19 team's got a heck of a resume to say, hey, I think we're the greatest team in Bison football history here.
You got me, man. You got me. That's speechless.
You know what I mean?
That's how good James Madison was. That game was 28-20.
Yes, exactly.
And that game went down to Jimmy Football, who the guy who made the play isn't even in the league.
No, he's selling
Jimmy
insurance
Hendricks
now, you know? It's pretty good stuff, man. That's
one of your best nerd stats in a long time.
Hey, I wanted to come out blazing here on a Monday.
I'm out.
You're done?
You don't need me.
Yeah, we do. You were down there on Friday. I mentioned we've covered several of these draft, either at the draft in Chicago in 2016 to what we saw last year with Christian Watson's deal. This was pretty special what happened on Friday night.
Yeah, the community obviously showed up. Everybody was there, and then some from the surrounding community. You know, one observation I saw, and I haven't told anybody this, but when the announcement was made, first of all, Cody gets the call, and it's 2 picks later. Yep. But he's just so coy. Did you see him? How
I did.
He knew he was going, but he would just. I don't know if he played it up or he's just that composed.
Oh, he played it up, I think. Yeah.
But this crowd just goes crazy. Okay, and I'm in the front. I'm getting cell phone photo.
This is the video you're talking about, him on the phone, and this was about 35 to 40 seconds. He was on the phone, which that's when the bat signal was going on. At least to me, we're on the air like, okay, something's happening.
And his dad's to our left right there. And he, after the call, he just motioned, was that a good call? And Cody said yes. And then Cody just puts his hand on his chin and just kind of enjoying a little movie at the little popcorn at the movie.
Right.
You know, nothing big going on. And so anyway, we're gonna have video of the celebration, right?
It'll come here in a bit.
And it just everybody was there. It must have been 800 people was the estimate.
Really? I think that place is good for 4.
Was a fire marshal around?
The fire marshal might have been there.
The fire marshal took the night off.
He might have been there.
Put it that way.
So there, he gets off the phone, and then, this is what Kolpack's talking about. Plays it about his...
Takes a little drink of water, like, oh, nothing going on, just watching the movie.
Right.
God, I'm bored.
And his youngest brother ran over to go grab a hat, which I think they grabbed he told him to grab he grabbed the Patriots hat because they were next up. And then,
I knew something was up because after that.
That's when a pick was made.
Joe puts his hand on his wife's shoulder, like you could tell, like, okay, here it is.
That's a great shot too of actually how packed it was. Where it's about 7:15. What is it? 7:20. Friday night of how many people were actually there.
I think that's one of his siblings. I want you to pay attention here to to the lower right. See the kids there as they go crazy, and everybody's looking at him. His siblings were just bawling their eyes out. And I want to go back to August when I was down there doing a story on the family story on Cody and talking about the age difference of Cody's the second oldest of 8 kids. And the youngest is 8 or 9, and there's younger kids there. And he made a point that he was not going to let age ever be a deterrent to staying close to his siblings, especially the younger ones. And as I was watching this, I'm looking to the right here, and his younger brothers and sisters are crying their eyes out. And that, to me, told me that, yes, he is making a connection. He is not letting the age difference of 24 to 8, 16 years difference between him and his youngest, be a deterrent. I mean, they obviously he's going to continue to connect to his young. He's good on his word, I guess, is my point.
No doubt. The pack, he told me beforehand, before we even went on the air, like because I was asked, hey, are you going to get out of here after, it's like, no, I'm going to stay. I want to make sure I talk to everybody. I know you had written this on Friday morning after being down there Thursday. They seemed like he was the groom at the wedding.
Reception.
And he went, going around. And he did that again Friday. I don't think anybody that went there didn't get a couple minutes of FaceTime with him.
And another observation I saw, that you never really saw people asking for his autograph. And you know why? Because he's one of them.
Yeah.
Do you ask your best buddy for an autograph? Or somebody you've known all your life for an autograph? No.
The part I will say is, like, literally we saw it happen, that his life and his family's life, and I asked Joe this, his dad, like, your life just literally changed on television. It normally doesn't happen to people. Like, you literally just saw your son become a multimillionaire. It just happened.
Now, you're a great TV. NFL contract mind. What do you think this is worth to him now?
Oh, gosh. In the top 50? Actually, I can look that up here in a second. I think we're talking $7, $8, $9 million because they're slotted out there.
So he'll be like Cordell Volson. He might get a new pickup.
Maybe more. Yeah.
He might get a new pickup.
Might get something there. I would think. Yeah.
I was actually talking to his dad about how the life-changing thing and keeping your circle small. The entourage, keeping your circle small. You have your agent. You're gonna have a financial guy. You have your family, and similar to what Carson has done. Carson has kept his circle of trusted confidants as about as small as you can get for being at that level.
Here we go. So, second round pick where he's at. They don't have the roster bonus yet here, but it's
7, 8, 9 million.
It's in the multi-millions.
He's a top 50 player, number 48.
Yeah. 48th overall pick is nothing to sneeze at, what they did there. That's awesome. I mean,
and he was on that 2000. He was the older guy, right? He wasn't really on the radar then.
He caught the 2-point pass against Montana State in that semifinal route before they went to Frisco. That was maybe one of his highlight plays before he actually became a usual member of the starting 5 on the offensive line. Just think of that, though. That offensive line had Nash Jensen, Cordell Volson, Zach Johnson, Cody Mauch, and Dylan Radins.
All drafted or free agents.
Yeah. And Carson Shooting was a heck of a football player as well, who was the starting center on that team. I mean, think if that's their offensive line. that year in 2019. That's unbelievable, man.
That's too bad there wasn't an FBS game. Oh,
it was all setting up. I know it. I know you wrote about that last fall. That was the game at Oregon. And at least
the next year,
more than half of these guys would have been playing in that game in Eugene. I don't know about Jabril. People always ask me about that. I think Jabril probably would have left.
I think so too.
Other.
I think there was family issue, family pressure there for him to try the next level.
Now we thought there would be 2 guys drafted, and the second guy was not who we expected. Former cornerback Josh Hayes got picked by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
as a safety
in the 6th round. People that may forget, Josh Hayes was also on this team in 2019.
So you didn't even include
I got him there.
Okay.
And that 2019 team, he won 3 championships in Fargo. Jeff, I haven't talked to Matt Entz about this. If they will claim him, because Josh left, as you will remember, it was about 2 years ago now when the Bison were playing during the spring season. It was a captain. He left, went into the portal, ended up transferring to Virginia. Things did not work out there. Then transferred to Kansas State to re-up with Chris Kleiman. And boy, you mentioned it to me yesterday, resurrected his career.
He owes Chris Kleiman.
Right?
He owes Chris Kleiman big time. Because Chris, I don't think he was on his way out. I mean, when you're at that level, you don't make it at Virginia. And there was one coach in America who knew what he could do, one FBS coach in America who knew what he could do at a certain level, and that was Chris Kleiman.
Yeah, it was not looking good for him at this time a couple years ago. But Josh, if people forget this, that he got inserted into the lineup of the national championship game in January of 2018 as a true freshman to guard Riley Stapleton, and was amazing in that game against James Madison.
Riley Stapleton was 6'5" receiver who was their go-to guy. Yes.
I mean, there were 2 stud receivers that James Madison had, and the Bison were down to basically 2 cornerbacks, Marquise Bridges, who was a wide receiver the year before, and Josh Hayes, and they were dynamite in that game against the Dukes.
Well, Chris Kleiman could recruit.
And then you go back to this list, these are Kleiman guys that he went and got. That's the part that I think people will certainly remember and wonder about for the next era of Bison football, is the level of recruiting. Can it get to, I don't know if it could ever match this. This is like all time.
When Craig Bull left, you thought, okay, are they going to be able to keep up their recruiting?
Right.
Because who's this guy Kleiman? I mean, we knew he's a D coordinator, but could he run a recruiting system? And it's a system.
Yep.
You have the head coach. You run a recruiting system. And he obviously did okay.
Now, it ends up that Hunter Lipke signs an undrafted deal with the Dallas Cowboys.
No, let's stop there. I thought he would have a chance to get drafted, but I think maybe the injury thing was...
I think there's 2 things there. The injury is definitely there in his position. I think fullback is still one that not many NFL teams employ. He ends up signing a free agent deal with the Cowboys, which is ironic because obviously Hunter's best game he ever had was in Frisco, Texas, where the Cowboys have their all their offices at. Spencer Wagee signs a deal with the San Francisco 49ers. Nash Jensen goes with the Carolina Panthers, and Noah Gindorf with the Seattle Seahawks. Again, I think all those guys were on the fringe of being drafted. I thought really Lipke, Jim Nagy told us he'd be shocked if he got out of the 4th round and he doesn't get drafted at all, which is, I mean.
Well, Mel Kiper thought Will Levis would go number 4 overall.
And it's distinction to be drafted. There's no doubt about it. But there's some guys that have made okay careers being undrafted, and I don't think this is going to hurt any of these guys if they have a chance. You know,
I think Hunter Lipke is going to be a fantastic pro.
I do.
I hope they give him a good shot. I really do.
All right, we're going to take a break. We come back. The transfer portal window officially closed yesterday. And I think for most of the guys that we know who left during the fall, we now know a destination. We're going to discuss that when we come back on the other side of the break. Hot Mic continues right after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL, and Forum.com.
Update your home's exterior with 11% off everything at Menards. Timbercrest Premium Vinyl Siding has a limited lifetime warranty and is 15% thicker than standard vinyl siding. Available in 9 popular colors. Get it today for $749 per piece after rebate. Your roof is the first line of defense against the elements. Owens Corning architectural shingles can withstand up to 130 mile-per-hour winds and have a limited lifetime warranty. Right now, they're 11% off at Menards.
Save big money at Menards. I had back pain for 15 years. I got cortisone injections every 3 months to get relief. Without the injections, I know I wouldn't be walking now. I've been seeing Dr. Ghazi for 14 years. He did this Minuteman procedure. It was an outpatient procedure, and I went home the same day. Since the surgery, I'm pain-free, and I don't need any injections anymore. I'd recommend the Center for Pain Medicine if you have any problems at all.
Today, 1 in 5 working-age Americans has a mental health condition.
People in all types of jobs and at all levels.
And the key to helping us succeed is a supportive and inclusive workplace.
All of us have a role to play in making that happen.
So what can I do to help?
As a CEO, I can set the tone for supportive culture.
As a manager, I can offer assistance and accommodations.
As a coworker, I can listen and be a source of support to my colleagues.
As someone with a mental health condition, I can ask for what I need to perform my best.
I can offer all employees the supports they need to deliver on the job. For the team
and for the business.
What can I do?
What can I do?
What can I do?
I can remind others
that we all benefit from workplaces that promote good mental health.
Mental health-friendly workplaces are more important than ever.
And all of us have a role to play in promoting them.
Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
It's been said that when someone you love has Parkinson's, you have Parkinson's. The truth is, Parkinson's disease doesn't just affect the diagnosed. It affects everyone who supports and helps care for them. Worldwide, over 10 million people are living with Parkinson's, a neurological disease that affects movement. And with so many places to search for information, it can be difficult to know where to begin. The Parkinson's Foundation has answers. Answers for everyone in the fight. We can help you understand the disease, help you find expert care, give you tips for living a better life, share the latest research, help you find local support, and there's a free helpline you can call. Find your answers and join us in the fight against Parkinson's. To learn more, please go to parkinson.org or call 1-800-4PD-INFO. The Parkinson's Foundation. Better lives together.
There are places, people, and conditions in this world that almost seem beyond hope. But not when Mercy Ships is there. Mercy Ships is a place restoring sight to the blind, normalcy to the deformed, beauty and happiness to the outcast, and joy to the brokenhearted.
And many times you can almost see the life coming back into them. Can't beat that.
Mercy Ships is the largest floating civilian hospital in the world, staffed with some of the most skilled volunteer medical professionals and crew. Mercy Ships is the reason why hope is now in sight for those who need it most. To learn more, go to mercyships.org today.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Wrapping up hour one. Back with Jeff Kolpack here.
When are we taking this traveling circus to Sioux Falls?
Well, we did already. Remember, we were down there for the Summer League basketball tournament.
Well, should have been. This is the big unveiling today in Sioux Falls. We should have been there.
We'll be back. Don't worry.
Come on.
You had tweeted out this last week. You got a little pushback on this, on the Deion Sanders in Colorado transfer news, because Colorado had more than 3/4 of its roster.
What was my tweet again? You just had it up.
Oh, I got to find it now. I was looking at something else here of how many guys that have gone into the portal from Colorado, which is high. I think it's 3/4 of their roster that have now have gone into the portal, which, again, we played the video when Deion said, I'm bringing suitcases, I'm bringing luggage for everybody. They're using it. 23, it went up to 25 Colorado players that since the spring game, which was last Saturday. That was 10 days ago. There's 25 guys that left, which, again, I mean, Deion said it.
Well, they were bad last year, so I guess
they won one football game.
You got to do what you got to do. I don't know. It just seems like a lot. And you got to remember that it's not like in the transfer portal, all these guys are great players and starters. Most are backups looking for another shot and another opportunity.
Yeah, I'd say it's far and few between you're going to find all-conference guys in there.
Of course. And he's going to go into TCU with all these new players who are backups.
Unless they're going up. You know what I mean? Like if you're going from like Wake Forest, I'm using an example, to Alabama, which happens. But more often than not, it's of that. Personally, this is what Deion wanted this. He said it at his opening press conference.
He just said it this morning. He goes, the team we have right now is not the team we're going to have in Texas, meaning his first game.
They play TCU their first game of the season, which is the national runners-up from last year. So it's going to be
entertaining. Oh, it's entertaining.
They got 700,000 people to watch the spring game, Kolpack. It was on ESPN. This is exactly so. As I mentioned to Bison fans last week, sign up for this because we're going to find out exactly what's up with Colorado a year from now when the Bison
You're also playing
Boulder.
with kids' lives here, too.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. But, I mean, it's Division I football. It's a business now.
Well, it's where Dan Hawkins did his famous Ain't Intramurals.
It is.
He should bring that out of the closet.
Yeah. Speaking of Division I football, the portal, as I mentioned, officially closed yesterday. We found out another destination for one of the former Bison. Dom Jones announced that he's transferring to go to Colorado State. So I made a graphic here of the guys that have left, the headline guys, through the 2022 football season. And these are the guys that have deported, and now they're known destinations. Phoenix Sproles to James Madison. Marquise Siegel went to Kansas State. Dom Ganello went to the University of South Florida. We mentioned Jones now at Colorado State. Courtney Eubanks at Coastal Carolina. Freshman Max Rader is at Wisconsin. We don't know. Kobe Johnson announced he has a location. We don't know where. And, of course, Tony Pierce just went in about 2 weeks ago. If you look at those schools, what do you make of that?
Pretty lateral, I would say.
Outside of Siegel.
Sproles is not going to start. He probably won't start. Ganella, I heard, didn't even play spring football for whatever reason.
Yep.
Dom Jones may start Colorado State because they're bad.
Colorado State's not good.
Courtney is not going to start at Coastal. I just don't think he's going to start there. Max Rader is a development guy, wanted to get near home. Kobe is still a mystery why he went into the portal. A team captain.
Yep.
And Pierce, who knows?
What do you have the destinations? I think the fans are going to look to and say, "Wait a minute."
And I don't know if Siegel started at Kansas State.
He's the only one that I would say improved his position though in terms of
no
school.
question.
The other ones are, and Rader is. I understand he's not starting for Luke Fickell this fall at the University of Wisconsin. Wisconsin kid that wanted to get closer to home, but I'm not going to omit facts on this just for sake of our conversation. But if you look at those other schools, James Madison, South Florida, Colorado State, Coastal Carolina, North Dakota State is on par with all of those schools. They're on par with all of them.
Yeah.
Or better than them. In fact, they've beaten three of them actually on the football field. They've beaten Colorado State. They've beaten Coastal Carolina. They beat James Madison. They haven't played. And I think they would beat South Florida if they were to play.
And if you talk to Bison coaches, one of the reasons is these kids think there's NIL money into the situation. No way none of those guys got NIL money.
Now,
maybe Siegel, maybe Kleiman gave him a couple donuts, but I just don't think there's unrealistic expectations for these kids when they go in. They think they can get NIL money. They think they can improve their stock. And I would say, 25% maybe do?
Oh, I think that's high. I'd say 15%.
15%.
There are connections here. You know, obviously Siegel with Kansas State. Buda Williams left NDSU, is at Colorado State. So there's a connection there with Dom Jones. I don't know of any known connection with Coastal Carolina on that one or the South Florida outside for Ganella to go closer to home.
We think he's a walk-on, too.
Yeah, correct. So, and we wait for, and Kobe tweeted this out last week.
I believe Eubanks is a walk-on, too.
Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, I did not know that. That Kobe tweeted out that he has announced or has a destination, so he hasn't tweeted it out where he's going yet. So I think for fans that see that when they see the news and freak out about it, I think now take a step back, and I'm asking fans to do a lot to actually, process some stuff. But when you look at this, it's not like they're going to Bama or, Cal. You know what I mean? I mean, these schools are not better than NDSU for the most part. They're just not.
Well, and
But then that brings up the next question, why you leave it?
Well, over time, I think there's going to be enough data where...
I think we got enough now.
I think so. You're right. The head coach and go, all right, you want to go in the portal? Here's what's happened in the past.
Here's some guys.
You think you're Jazir Cox or Jabril Cox or Marquise Siegel?
Probably not.
Yeah.
DJ Hart's not on there. DJ Hart transferred to Northern Iowa. He's
nowhere to be found.
He's not in school in Northern Iowa. So
he went from a starting wide receiver at NDSU to out of football
in 5 months.
Yeah.
That's scary. That's a scary deal. So again, we're just trying to.
And he probably would have got his degree at NDSU.
Yeah. They're trying to be difficult about it.
At a land-grant university, he would have got his degree at a land-grant university, would have got most of it paid for. He got cost of attendance here, and he gave that all up to go in the portal, ends up at a school that is it's not as good as NDSU. Obviously, it's Northern Iowa.
Right.
They're good, but they're not.
Nope.
They're not. They have never won an FCS title.
Also, by the way, I look at this that Michigan State, Mel Tucker's getting ravaged here today. He had 3 star players go. This is it. This is how it is. So I've been saying this for 2 years. I hopefully that people start waking up to the fact that this is where we are at.
And again, once the COVID years, once we get rid of that, that'll change things a little bit too.
We still got 2 more years to hang on for that. 2 more years. Of,
3 if you have a hardship.
Right. So you got 2 more years of this, the 23-24 and the 24-25 academic years of real crazy portal stuff.
But again, there's a difference if you have 2 years left and 1 year left.
Absolutely.
Big deal.
Yep.
So you got 1 more year of somebody having 2 years possibly left because of COVID. How's that for my Fargo South math?
Heck of a way to wrap up our segment. Appreciate the time as always. Thanks for coming by.
Hi, everybody in Sioux Falls.
Yes.
Good to have them along.
Make sure you join us each and every day. Jeff Kolpack joins us each and every Monday at 9:35. We'll take a break. We come back. We'll start hour 2. The voice of the Jackrabbits, Tyler Merriam, will join us to recap Tucker Kraft's weekend as he's selected by the Packers. And where are the Jacks at in the portal? They've had some few guys go in as well. We'll discuss that when we start hour 2 right after this.
Next ET, we're with Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, fresh off of their historic Wrexham win.
It's just ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous.
Plus, our Drew Barrymore exclusive, talking all about her viral house alarm moment.
I was so excited. I had my machete and my shaving cream. I'm finishing.
Then, we're hanging backstage at Stagecoach Music Festival for a certified country exclusive.
Next ET.
Weekdays at 6:30 on WDAY WDAZ. Our crews break down every angle of the biggest stories. WDAY News.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Cody Mauch.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers take Cody Mauch from North Dakota State and Hankinson, North Dakota. Now that it's over and done with, what's the reaction? What's the feeling?
Ready to freaking play football again. Now I'm just excited to just go down to Tampa Bay and actually play some football.
Count on the news leader, WDAY News.
At Touchmark, we really take an input from both the community, our residents, and also our team members.
And there's something for everybody. It runs the gamut. You have the freedom to participate or not, as you choose.
I personally like to play bridge. I like their book club, all the concerts that they have, the music almost every day. We like everything that's here.
And you find it here.
Every day is a different day. It's really about developing programming that is meaningful and beneficial for everyone.
Catch Bison Softball on WDAY Extra. Watch NDSU take on the Omaha Mavericks in a doubleheader starting Friday at noon. Bison Softball, only on WDAY Extra.
You got lots of money over here.
I want to go for it. So do I. Let's do it.
You bet your life.
Give me the money. More money. $5,000.
Boosting the economy.
You seriously asking me this question, Jay? Coney Island. What are we doing over here?
Every weekday.
Yeah, give me that money. Oh, yeah. I'm going to give it to you like an Italian uncle. Here you go. You get yourself a little something there. There you go. Right there.
Weekdays at 3:30 p.m.
I've been doing this for a long time. Somebody has to stand up for victims.
Detective Stabler, my partner, Detective Benson.
The world is changing. It took a lot of courage to get up on that stand. There's no stigma in coming forward. Please help me stop him.
He's not gonna ever be able to hurt you again.
I promise you,
I'll protect you.
I'm not gonna stop until we find this guy.
Weekdays at 12 p.m.
Every crime scene has secrets.
Every victim has an untold story.
And within every mystery lies the truth.
Our job is to find it. The original true crime series, Dateline.
Weekdays at 1 p.m.
There is a road laid out for me.
Boxes everywhere. And this is gonna be Addie's room.
I am blind.
You're really gonna like it. I hope so. Yeah.
I know this road is there for me. There is a long way.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
The way it's down by the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
I got this.
I know this road is there for me.
Okay.
If I'm really free, take me down to the river and wash me. Oh.
This is Hot Mike. Hot Mike. On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody, on a Monday morning. Hot Mike rolls on WDAY Extra. KSFL in Sioux Falls on our first day down there. And, of course, Inforum.com for people who stream our show each and every day. Thanks to Jeff Kolpack for joining us and giving us the breakdown on the Bison side of things for the draft. It was not just NDSU that had a player get selected this weekend. South Dakota State did as well. The Jackrabbits saw Tucker Kraft go in the third round to the Green Bay Packers. Had quite the celebration. I don't know if it equaled Hankinson, but it was pretty good in Timberlake, South Dakota on Friday night. Our next guest, friend of the show, the voice of the Jackrabbits, Tyler Merriam, joins us here on a Monday morning. It's great to see you, man. Pretty cool. I think I'm on the field after the game in Frisco, and I see Cody Mauch go right over and shake and actually hug Tucker Kraft, which I couldn't believe actually happened after the game, but they respect one another. It seemed fitting. Those were the first two FCS guys off the board on Friday.
Certainly a ton of respect between the two programs and between those two individuals. And I know you've documented it. I mean, a couple of small town kids from the Dakotas and guys who, when Mauch arrived at NDSU, nobody said, well, he's an obvious NFL guy. We didn't even know what position he was going to play. And Kraft, a very similar story in coming in and having dealt with some adversity and to be able to have his moment, just so cool for him. So cool for Cody. We were talking off air too. It's awesome for both those guys. And it's a reminder, right, that dreams can come true. You don't have to be from a huge city or have to go to a remarkable school at the Power 5 level. There's so many good schools and good programs beyond those, and certainly the Jacks and Bison are two of them.
78th overall pick for Kraft. We got the video, of course, came from SDSU on the watch party of when the phone call comes in, and it was different. Mauch played it down. Tucker gets on the phone. He tells everybody to be quiet so he can hear. I'm assuming it's Brian Gutekunst who's talking to him, the general manager of the Packers. But watching this, Tyler, this was fed. This is again why the draft is so popular.
It is, and it's also a reminder that Tucker is a showman of sorts. You know, I mean, let us not forget he arrived in the Fargo Dome in mid-October, and there was no chance he was playing. But he went through every warm-up he could and soaked it all in. He loved every minute of it. That's just Tucker, and it makes him so special. He's a great young man, and yeah, at one point, again, I wasn't there, but he went to the bathroom and he came out, and everybody was looking at him. He's going, guys, I just had to use the bathroom. And you know he did it with the dramatic flair of Sir Laurence Olivier, and Tucker's something else, but so happy for him.
With the Packers taking him, we'll get to that in a second. It's always, ifs and buts here. If he doesn't get hurt against Iowa, we don't know. The Jackrabbits maybe win that football game. I also wonder, does his draft, from what you heard and following this, does his draft stock change totally, Tyler, if he plays all 15 games for the Jacks in 2022?
I don't know if it does. From what I have heard, because as you know, a lot of scouts come through, and there were a lot of people that were in Brookings who talked to him. And from what he told me and from what our coaches said as well here at SDSU, who were part of those conversations, the scouts as a whole all said, hey, look, don't rush this. We know what you can do. You just need to get to 100%. So from what I understand, the issue was just as long as he comes back and shows what he can do, we all know his stock. I mean, is it possible, obviously, if he makes some unbelievable play that gets him on SportsCenter, who knows? But I think as a whole, everybody knew what he was about, and it was just he needs to prove that he is 100% and he is healthy. And once he did that, I think that kind of just solidified everything again. And again, just a unique combination of speed, power, and size that Dallas Goedert had it, and certainly Tucker Kraft does as well.
Give me your first early memories of Kraft. That, okay, he can be a NFL player. Was there a game moment that stands out to you over the last couple of years?
Oh, I think late in the season of the fall of 21. We have to preface the fall and the spring. But he caught a pass. He caught a pass against North Dakota, basically a screen pass, and ran through a bunch of traffic, broke some tackles, dove into the end zone. And that was a play that I don't know if it was NFL, but you just said that's another level. You know, Goddard had the one-handed catch in the season opener a few years back, and you went, okay, that most people don't make those kind of plays. Isaiah Davis with all the stiff arms in the national championship, you're like, you've seen him do some great things, but that's on a different level. And that's probably the one that comes to mind with Kraft, is that sort of set him aside because you knew he had some raw ability. You knew he was good. But when he makes a play like that, it's hard not to take a step back and go, whew, this kid's special.
5 players now from SDSU, Tyler, since 2018 have been picked. This is it's not NDSU level, but it's pretty close of guys getting drafted into the NFL. How much can this just bolster already what's a program that's going this way?
Well, it doesn't hurt. I mean, I think, and again, a guy like Caleb Sanders, who was a beast on the defensive line, is going to have an opportunity with the New York Giants, not drafted, but certainly an opportunity. And I think that's probably the biggest thing, is just to be able to say, look, you come here, every opportunity and then some is available. And it's been said for a while, but it continues to happen. You don't have to rely on Adam Vinatieri, who, sad to say, there are some youngins who might not fully realize just how good he was. You don't have to hang your hat on that, or Phil Hansen if you're North Dakota State. You can hang your hat on these guys who are very current. People grew up watching them, and you have some of these guys. I mean, Tucker Kraft talks about watching Goddard when he was in high school.
Right.
And so those direct connections are so important in this day and age, not for us who are removed from the program, but those who are the high school kids, the junior high kids, that to be able to have a direct connection and to say, hey, look, I watched him play and now he's in the NFL and that's where I want to go. That's a big, big deal.
Watching Goddard in high school, God, I feel old. Wasn't that long ago he's playing? And I remember vividly the game in Brookings in 2017. That's not that long ago. Come on.
It's not, but you and I are aging before our time, my friend.
That's right. So immediately I think people would wonder, especially up here, on this 2023 roster, this time next year, who we talking about potentially could get drafted out of South Dakota State?
Well, I mean, anything's possible. You know, I think a guy like Hines is certainly of consideration. When you talk about tight ends, he's a very unique skill set as well. Both McCormick and Greenfield being All-Americans on that offensive line, I think they're certainly in the discussion. We know a lot of things can happen over the summer and in the fall where guys make jumps, so you're obviously projecting a little bit. And then Isaiah Davis is one that obviously his name has to come to mind also, as those are probably 4 at the top of the list. But will one of the Yankees make a jump and draw some attention, or there's certainly some other guys in the mix there, but I think those are probably the first 4 that would come to my mind. McCormick and Greenfield are such a huge part of what the Jacks have been able to do offensively. You can talk all you want about Kraft and Hines and Gronowski and all these things, but those two have been really constants through all the injuries. Davis missed time with injuries. Those two have been rocks, and you have to have it up front. We know that. We've seen it in both Fargo and Brookings. You've got to have it up front, and the Jacks certainly do with those two.
Spring ball wrap for Jimmy Rogers. Give me your, 1,000-foot view of what you saw for his first time as head football coach, what the 15 practices were like.
Well, I think the first thing that jumps out is the post-practice speeches are a tad more intense because Jimmy is incredibly intense, where Stig was a little more of the laid-back, let everybody else handle that. Jimmy's much more hands-on in that regard. So that certainly jumps out. A lot of things are similar, though. It's not a tremendous change. There are going to be some little things that are noticeable. But again, Jimmy Rogers designed really the defense. I mean, it was his deal. And Zach Lujan's offense is still Bill Zach Lujan's offense. And I know from talking to Zach that he said Jimmy will come in and ask a question or two, but he's not telling us, hey, you got to do this. He's not in the weeds with it. He's letting us do that. And Jesse Bobbitt played for Jimmy Rogers as a linebacker and now the coordinator. Jimmy's a little more hands-on that side of the football, obviously, just like Stig was. Stig was a little more hands-on defense than offense. But a lot of the things are not going to be great changes. There's some semantics and things like that. Holy nutmeg probably won't get uttered quite as much as it did, and it certainly will not be the handle of the current football coach at South Dakota State on Twitter. But as a whole, I think you're going to see a lot of similarities. And again, with so many guys back, the culture's in place and all that. So there's going to be a lot of things that won't change from Stig to Jimmy Rogers.
I hear, because Bison fans always are asking me when a guy goes in the portal up at NDSU, well, how many guys have SDSU lost? And it's apples and oranges to me. There are guys going to go for any sort of reason, but it's happened in NDSU where they've had this unreal run for a decade plus. SDSU's been really good now at the very top, but it just started, Tyler. Like I'll say this, and I kind of say it tongue in cheek. The vultures will circle soon enough. You know what I mean? Like it's SDSU's not going to hide how good its players are. You can't do that anymore.
No, you can't. And I think it really says a lot to the way the transition went from Stiegelmeier to Rogers in that you didn't have a max exodus, because that would have been the easiest thing in the world to do, even if you like him, to say, well, here's my chance to do this. And nobody really did. Now, there's been a couple that have entered here during the spring football campaign just because they think they have better opportunities, because, they might look and see a guy ahead of them
their path
and want to do that.
Right.
Yep. Yes. And that's not because of culture or anything else. You're going to have that every place. So I think there's a lot to be said for that. And I certainly was not in that locker room. I wasn't having those conversations. But part of the reason Jimmy Rogers was picked was the thought that everybody believed in him, that he was the next guy. He could bring all those guys together. And there were a lot of opportunities, whether it's undergrads or grad students. You know how it is with fifth and sixth year guys, with everything with the COVID-19 extra years and the super seniors. A lot of guys could have just said, you know what? I'm good. I've been through this. I don't need to deal with this. They all came back. Yeah. And I think that says a lot about the culture and about the way that Jimmy Rogers does things.
Tell me about, we had Dave St. Peter on shortly after the announcement of the game at Target Field. Dave told me, he said, there's not a bigger alumni base that's more energetic when we have the different alumni nights than South Dakota State. Have you heard that? Is there a buzz about this game at Target Field?
There certainly is a buzz about it. And I know as far as the Twins nights go with the institutions, they've said SDSU is the best night of them. Now, does that correlate to a football game on a Saturday in September? I mean, we'll see. I know there's been some terrific early response to all of that, but we're also still fairly early. And so we'll wait and see. But I know there's a lot of excitement about it, and just continuing to branch out. Because, again, the first time that NDSU had an opportunity like this, it was an unbelievable deal. And now it's like, well, we've done that before. Well, not everybody has. And so for SDSU, this is the first time for the Jacks. It's the first time SDSU's been a national champion. So there's some of these things that the Jacks are going through and still feeling their way through things. I know there's a lot of excitement on our end internally in the athletic department about being able to work with the Twins on a different level, and it's been fun to be a part of some of those conference calls and to see how the hot dog is made, if you will, Dom, and so that's been a lot of fun. And again, people are excited about it and looking forward to just a different opportunity. And SDSU football is excited because it's another game that they don't have to travel for.
Yep.
And so basically, I mean, we say travel, but there's 3 flights this year and they're all in conference. And so SDSU is staying within 4 hours of campus until October. And that's a nice place to be.
Bison are in the same boat. They have the game at US Bank Stadium, and then they have their other non-conference games are at home, and their first conference game is USD at the Dome. I mean, that's amazing. They're not leaving Fargo or the general vicinity until the first weekend of October, which is amazing.
It is. And last year, the flip side of it was for SDSU was there was one flight. Yeah. Because the road games were Iowa and North Dakota State and North Dakota and Northern Iowa, which are all drives. So there's, again, more flights this year, but just the way it works out. So, again, a lot of excitement about the schedule and opening up on a Thursday night and then playing Montana State. That'll be quite the second game of the season. So, again, lot to look forward to, and people are excited around.
Is there a quasi-rivalry now with SDSU and Montana State? That's not necessarily – it is the rubber match, so to speak. It's not a postseason game, but it's going to be 3 times playing over the span of 2 years.
Well, and you go back, too. I mean, SDSU went out there in, I think
Right.
it was 17.
Oh, that's right.
Chase Vinatieri had the fake field goal, and Montana State was here as well. So there's been a home and home. You remember a lot of that connection, Dom, is Leon Costello, who was the deputy AD here, is now the athletic director out there and still has great relationships with people around here, including myself. So it is neat. It was neat to see him in Brookings. I know he was happy to have us out there the year before, and so that's part of it. But I think, too, it's an example of really what it should be. Right, is that not to say that, well, we'll play anybody, and then NDSU or SDSU offers you a contract, you go, well, you know, I may say I'm all in before I leave to a Power 5 school, not to throw any names out there, Dom, but I'm not really going to take this opportunity and play this game. Well, that's not how Montana State is. That's not how South Dakota State is. It's not how North Dakota State is. We want to play the best and create some great matchups, and it is exciting because Montana State does things the right way. It's an excellent program, and I think that we all view each other in a very similar light.
Can I get you on board with having the Bison Jacks game as the final game of the season permanently? How would that go over in Brookings?
Well, there's a couple of things to that. One of them is that you have some that would still stoke everything about the in-state rivalry with USD. Yep. There's a little bit of that, although, again, certainly when it comes to the big picture, SDSU and NDSU have clearly been the top 2 in that regard. I think the other thing, too, with that UND rivalry simmering as well, it's become a good one with the Jacks and the Fighting Hawks. Remember, SDSU lost in the spring in the Alaris Center, played a really good game in Brookings in 2021, and then the Jacks were down 14-0,
right.
And UND had the ball the week after the Jacks beat the Bison in Fargo, and then SDSU rallied. I think the biggest thing from a scheduling standpoint, can the Jacks not play those 3 schools back to back to back? Because that seems to happen every year. There was in the fall of 21, it was all 3 weeks in November.
Yep.
That was how the Jacks closed the year. Yep. And I'm going, this is ridiculous. Yep. And then last year it was all in October. And that's a gauntlet. Yep. And so I think it would be cool. Now, I don't know how many of our friends in Fargo would really want to play in Brookings on November the 20th. Like, they might like that in mid-October. To be honest, I think mid-October is a cool spot to have it. I think if we can find that, Alabama, Tennessee always play the 3rd Saturday in October for so many years. I think there is something to that. It's not the first game. I don't like it in late September. We've seen that a couple of times. I don't like it that early.
Too early.
I think it'd be great to have it in like the 4th week of the league.
Yeah, I like that
would be
idea.
My perfect thing is like late October, where it's not the end, but it's not the beginning.
So when they did it for game day, that was the end of October, right? I mean, that was perfect. It was great weather in Brookings. That's enough for enough has been played, and enough can be decided after that game is played as well.
I thought October 15th up in Fargo last year was perfect, because it was week 3 or 4 of the league, and hey, we all knew where the teams were, right? We knew how big of a game that was.
doubt.
There wasn't any hesitation, but I don't like it being September 22nd. I think it needs to have some. So I'm not necessarily against the end of the year, but I think it's cool to have it in week 4, let's say, of league play.
All right, before we let you go, because people can hear in the background, is your office going to come down on your head here? I know they're doing the renovations at Frost. Tell us how's it looking, and what's the latest there?
Well, I tell you right now, if you walked out there, we would not be playing basketball or volleyball or having wrestling in that facility right now. So for those that don't know, it's a 2-year process, and so this is year 1. And yes, I literally have the closest door to where everything is being done. So I walk 5 steps and open up, and I get just buried in dust from everything that's going on. So I leave the other side of the building down to avoid that. But no, it's coming along really well. One of the unique things, and it's the same thing we did here with the football stadium, was rather than relocate to speed things up, we chose to make it go a little longer in the process, but still be able to use the facility. So when Coughlin Alumni Stadium switched to Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium, the facility, as far as where you're playing, it's the same ground. So it was a 2-year process. So you did one side of it and then got through the year and then did the other side. Similar deal here, where everything up top will be done in time for the fall. So because as it was pull-out bleachers. We lacked some of the amenities with bathrooms, concessions, whatever. Now all that will be permanent. Suites will be added. That'll all be done for this coming year. And then once this coming season is over, the 23-24 season, then they'll get to the bottom level, and then everything will be fully operational for the fall of 24.
It's going to be exciting. Going to be brand new to look at. I know what Frost is. It's going to look so much like it was when I saw Dykow Stadium for the first time. Like, is this the same place that we've been to before?
And here's the thing, if you can hear me over the jackhammering, is the fact that, Dom, with Coughlin Alumni to Dana J. Dykow Stadium, that was literally the outhouse to the penthouse.
No.
I mean, we called that a stadium. It was a field with a set of bleachers. Let's just be honest about it. But when it comes to this place, Frost, for being 50 years old, has held up remarkably
Pretty
well.
good.
And it looks very good on television. But it needed some sprucing up. And as we're talking about with the NFL guys and trying to get recruits in, you need some of those additional amenities. And so to have nicer locker rooms and team facilities on top of the practice gyms that were built a few years ago that are right next door as well, it's much needed, and we're excited about it.
Go put a hard hat on. I don't want anything hitting you in the head there. Thanks so much for doing this, bud. It's always great to see you, and we'll talk again soon, okay?
No, appreciate it. Congratulations on the expansion, Dom, and look forward to catching up again real soon.
Thanks, bud. There he goes. Tyler Merriam, the voice of the Jackrabbits, calls SDSU football, men's basketball, does a great job, and we appreciate him joining us today. The renovation at Frost is going to be something else for people that have gone down many a time to see that. Will be different, and I think I'm on board with him on the schedule deal. I like that. Can we make that permanent? I know they watch the show in the league offices in St. Louis. Can we do that? If we're not going to play at the end and you're not going to make a rivalry game there, can we do it at least in the middle part of the season? That'd be okay. And split it up. Like this year, I think they're going to do this, that the Bison play in Grand Forks and Brookings this year. I think going forward for the next rotation in 25, they're actually going to split it. So those years, the Bison would play SDSU at home and at UND, or vice versa. That they need that because the home schedule for the Bison this year is not great. It's probably the best way to describe it. We're overdue for a break. We'll take one now, get caught up on some things, including what a weekend it was for the Vikings at the NFL Draft. We roll on a Monday on Hot Mike. We're back right after this.
Our crews break down every angle of the biggest stories. WDAY News.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Cody Mauch.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers take Cody Mauch from North Dakota State and Hankinson, North Dakota. Now that it's over and done with, what's the reaction? What's the feeling?
Ready to freaking play football again. Now I'm just excited to just go down to Tampa Bay and actually play some football.
Count on the news leader, WDAY News.
Hi, I'm Mark Knutson from the Essentia Health Fargo Marathon. So you say you're not a runner? That's not a problem. You can still be part of the Fargo Marathon, and I am personally inviting all of you to jump in. You love to ride bike? Then it's the Cyclothon bike ride for you. If you got a dog, get him or her registered for the Fargo Dog Runs. They get into the dome, get their own dog finisher medal. The Fargo Marathon has something for everyone. Check it out today and register at fargomarathon.com. That's fargomarathon.com.
Ever hear the one about the frog? Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out.
Here's my resume.
But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, and that frog will boil. It's a lie. But as a metaphor for us and all that we go through as veterans,
real-world experience.
it's a story that rings true. We make excuses for how we feel. We push everything down. We tell ourselves the lie that it's easier to stay in that boiling water, to disconnect. And some days, maybe, it is. But you've never been interested in easy. Reaching out is hard. Do it anyway. You're not alone. You've got this. You are not a frog.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Thanks for buying a fishing license.
What the?
I know, but listen. I want you to picture all the great things this simple purchase does. Like building public boat ramps, keeping local waters clean so families can fish and swim, and maintaining a healthy fish population.
What's Mom doing?
It also provides fishing education and activities for the kids, and funds long-term plans to protect our lakes and streams.
Wow.
Wow is right.
Did he?
When you buy a fishing license, you do a lot. Because every dollar from a license purchase protects and maintains your local waterways for future generations to enjoy. Learn more at takemefishing.org.
Sorry, I'm out sick again. I just can't shake this fever.
Spread by mosquito bites, West Nile virus is found in nearly every state across the country.
Elena had another asthma attack. She's really sad to miss school again.
Asthma, a leading chronic illness among children and youth in the U.S., can often be triggered by allergens from household pests.
Hi, Chief. I finally got a diagnosis. It's Lyme disease. I'll be out for a few days, maybe longer.
Every year, nearly 300,000 people nationwide are diagnosed with Lyme disease, an illness from tick bites.
Coach, I'm at the hospital. I got stung by something and had a bad allergic reaction. I'm not going to make the game.
Stinging insects send more than 500,000 people to the emergency room every year. Don't let pests force you to take a sick day. Learn how to protect yourself and your family at pestworld.org.
Welcome back, everybody. Our thanks to Tyler Merriam for joining us. We're going to have much more with Tyler, of course, as we get closer to the start of a new football season. We got some NFL draft grades we're going to get to. We'll break here. We're going to get back on schedule, including a prediction I made on Friday. We'll see how close I was to right on that. Hot Mike rolls on Monday morning. We're back after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL, and Inforum.com.
I've never done makeup before. Help!
Got a problem? Our dream team will solve it.
Girl, you ready?
From Makeup 101 to...
I'm at a loss. I want to feel good about what I'm wearing.
What to wear during menopause.
The one thing you don't want to do is try and cover it and make it super tight.
Even a doctor's advice on cleanses.
You're gonna be hangry.
Plus...
It's salad night!
Mixed great job.
Weekdays at 3 on WDAY WDAZ.
Hi, I'm Robin Hubner. Help create a world free of multiple sclerosis at the Dakota Medical Foundation Little Black Dress and Tie Evening Gala, Friday, May 5th at the Moorhead Armory Event Center. Enjoy a meal, cocktails, live auction, local music, and a speaker affected by MS. Proceeds help drive critical research. Black dress and tie are optional. Reservations are required. Scan this QR code or visit DMF Little Black Dress and Tie for MS.betterworld.org.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. Those 9 months were also 273 days of planning. What about your daughter's first costume party? It was out of this world. And let's not forget those barbecues you plan in detail for your family and your more vegetarian by the day best friends. Surprise party for your parents' golden anniversary? You get the golden planning. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
The end of hunger and poverty starts here. Your gift of an animal from Heifer International can help a family start a small business, creating food and income for education, medicine, and more, all while caring for the earth. At Heifer International, we help small-scale farmers achieve living incomes through economic development and private sector partnerships. We empower communities by creating women's groups, farmers associations, and cooperatives that strengthen social support networks. And we teach sustainable, earth-friendly agriculture that minimizes environmental impact and reduces the carbon footprint. Around the world, and right here at home. Heifer International. Learn more at heifer.org.
would you give for a child you loved to make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you'd do. You see, wishes are so powerful, and you can make them real. They can give a child back their childhood, even change the way they feel. Every single one of us can make the stars align, because when we come together, hope and joy will shine.
Welcome back, everybody. Hot Mike here on a Monday morning. We roll on. Tomorrow on the show, former Bison All-American defensive end Kyle Emanuel will join us. That's his final appearance of our season. We'll have him break for the summer and then bring him back right before the 2023 North Dakota State football season will begin. That's coming up on the show tomorrow as we now make that transition into May. Doesn't mean they stop the football chatter, but be unpacking some new things as well as we now move into the warmer, quote-unquote, warmer weather months and hopefully enjoy some outdoor activities coming up here over the next little bit. Okay, so we've chatted plenty on the Bison weekend of the draft, even what the Jackrabbits did. Have not got into totally yet what the Minnesota Vikings did with their draft weekend, which I would say was mixed results. That's how I'll say it. We talked plenty on Friday's show on the drafting of Jordan Addison with their first-round pick, the wide receiver out of USC. They took him with the 23rd overall pick. They did not have a second-round pick. Of course, that was the trade to the Detroit Lions for T.J. Hawkinson. Here are the rest of their selections that they made over the weekend. Mekhi Blackmon, also from USC, went in the third round, cornerback with the 102nd pick. They took Jay Ward, a safety from LSU, with the 134th overall pick. Jaquelin Roy, defensive tackle from LSU, would pick 141 in the fifth round. They also used a fifth-round pick on a quarterback, Jaron Hall from BYU. We'll talk about him in a second. And then Dwayne McBride, a running back from UAB, Alabama Birmingham, with their seventh-round pick, the 222nd pick. They kept trading back. Mel Kiper, he was, I don't know if generous grader. He gave the Vikings a B. He says the Vikings got 2 defensive snaps from rookie safety Lewis Seen, last year's first-round pick, and they entered this draft without a second-rounder because it was dealt for T.J. Hawkinson. So while I thought for a little bit on Thursday they might go for a quarterback with Will Levis, they opted for a prospect who will make an immediate impact. Jordan Addison will fit well as the number 2 wideout behind Justin Jefferson. Addison can run any route. He can line up across any formation. He just knows how to get open. Minnesota went back to USC for a cornerback and Mekhi Blackmon. I had that one as a little bit of a reach with better corners on the board. I like defensive tackle Jaquelin Roy in round 5. He can be a solid nose tackle. I keep hearing, and this is my own opinion, his comparisons to Dalvin Tomlinson. That would be good at that spot. He adds, I do not see NFL starter traits for quarterback Jaron Hall, but he was extremely productive over the past 2 years. I never mind a day 3 quarterback selection too much. Dwayne McBride was my favorite selection for Minnesota. He is a top 100 prospect on my board. He averaged 155 rushing yards per game last season and can break tackles on the open field. He isn't likely to be a third down back as a rookie, but he's a natural runner once he gets the ball. This is a small class, but Addison fills a massive need. I'm just curious to see how much Blackmon can play as a rookie because Minnesota has available snaps for him. They've got available snaps for a lot of people on defense. Okay, now to the Jaron Hall pick. They take the BYU quarterback, as we mentioned, in the 5th round. Guy that he had a huge last 2 years at BYU. There's no doubt about it. He was really good. Here's the thing. As you look at his highlight tape, and again, he plays in an offense at BYU that likes to throw the ball and will wing it all over the place. Is this guy your next starter? 6 foot, 207 pounds. I don't see this. He's undersized. Is this the guy that's going to replace Kirk Cousins? I don't think so. Threw for 3,171 yards and 31 touchdowns last year, rating of 160. I mean, he makes plays, good arm. I don't know if this is what they wanted to do at this particular spot. I don't know. I thought there was going to be more of a definitive answer at this position made this weekend, whether it was in the draft or to acquire a player. And personally, I don't think they did either. They didn't make a statement early round pick at quarterback, as we all thought may happen. It was certainly opening up that way with the 23rd overall pick. And they didn't do that. They could have had their guy. Levis was sitting there. Hooker was sitting there. But clearly what ended up happening, and you can say this now as we're 2 days removed from it, is that they were in love with Stroud, Young, and Richardson, as was everybody. That's why they went 1, 2, and 4. And if they didn't get either of those three guys, then they didn't like Will Levis and they didn't like Hendon Hooker. That was their consensus. Those were the two guys they wanted. And after that, or three guys they wanted, and after that, they weren't going to reach. And so they go with Jaren Hall, which, again, is he an NFL starting quarterback? I don't know, because they have not addressed the future of Kirk Cousins beyond 2023. They have him signed for this year. After that, nothing. Now, they've not ruled out doing a long-term deal. I've said that on Cousins. But if you wouldn't have done it, wouldn't you have done it by now? Kwesi Adofo-Mensah confirmed as much as Saturday, saying every option is open to us going forward about signing Cousins. Now, the Vikings have already watched USC's Caleb Williams, who was the Heisman Trophy this winter, and North Carolina's Drake May. Those are the top two guys at quarterback in next year's draft. But if Cousins is great again this coming year, aren't you signing him again? Now, before we go any further, I made some bold predictions. For our viewers in Sioux Falls who missed out on this, and heck, for our viewers that watch us every single day, want to make some predictions. We do that each and every day on the show. But here we go. I said this Friday on the show about what would happen with the Vikings this weekend. There's my hot takes for the day. I think when we come back on Monday, we got a big show planned for Monday. Big news coming up on Monday's show. I don't think Zadarius Smith is a Viking. I don't think Dalvin Cook is a Viking. And I think Trey Lance is playing for somebody other than San Francisco. That's the 3 bullet points. So, Eric, you got it. Clip that. We'll put it out on social media. And then Monday or even Sunday night, we can laugh at this when I'm wrong on all 3. Do it again. 0 for 3. 0 for 3 on Blair it. Holy cow. All right. Now all our Sioux Falls viewers are deaf. Yes, Zadarius Smith is still a Viking. Dalvin Cook is still a Viking. And Trey Lance is still a member of the San Francisco 49ers. I don't know. I'm really surprised on Dalvin Cook, honestly. I really thought that they would have made some sort of move there, and Zadarius Smith. Now, I had people saying, well, they could do something by June 1. But who knows? This is from the Star Tribune this morning. The Vikings did not trade either player during the draft, though the fact both have contracts that seem ripe for restructuring might have complicated trade talks. If Smith or Cook is dealt before the season, the Vikings would likely receive 2024 draft picks in return. Adofo-Mensah said Saturday the Vikings will continue to have conversations with both players. Of course, Madison got a big deal. He's in line to play more. They drafted a running back here that at least Mel Kiper likes. Cook, whose $14.1 million cap hit is scheduled to be the fourth largest among NFL running backs this season, I can't imagine he comes back. Za'Darius already has his house for sale. He's already said goodbye. I mean, I can't imagine under any circumstance they're playing with the Vikings in 2023. As for the Trey Lance deal, did we think there was more smoke than there actually was? Clearly. Again, John Lynch addressed it, the 49ers general manager, when we played that sound last Tuesday, that, yeah, they have taken phone calls, but it's not like that the hotline is burning up. That doesn't mean that something doesn't happen with the 49ers making a trade, whether it's with Minnesota or somebody else. With the way the 49ers are looking, it looks like it's going to be Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold. That Trey Lance's time is going to be somewhere else. Just don't know where. I'd be really surprised if that ends up being the case there in San Francisco. But for the Vikings, I think it's a mixed bag of results. I think you're hoping for the two guys you drafted early last year to be healthy and make major contributions. If that's the case, then maybe this is a bolstering class to that. But for a defense that was horrendous last year, I don't know, beyond the signings they did in free agency, have they addressed this totally? Outside of the fact of drafting a wide receiver in the first round that we have signed up to outscore teams 45-41 in 2023. In a division where we think the Packers are likely taking a step back, the Bears are still a little ways away. The Lions had an interesting weekend. It's probably the best way to say it. Using a high pick on a running back, trading DeAndre Swift to Philadelphia, of all places. It was an interesting weekend for the Lions. The division is clearly there for them, in my estimation. Couple of emails going back, and of course you can email the show, dizzo@wday.com. Don, first I believe this on the Bison guys. Don, first I believe Hunter Lipke made the right choice to enter the draft. Coming back would not increase his draft stock. That being said, I really have to question if his shoulder was a red flag to teams and caused him not to be drafted. I also believe Noah Gindorf would have been drafted if he didn't need the second surgery. Both ended up in good spots. Hard to say. I think we left here Friday morning of the mindset that Lipke was going to be, I think, an early day 3 pick. That did not happen. Now he ended up signing, I think, in a good spot with Dallas. But I think there was 2 factors there. Not just the shoulder. I think his position hurt him. How many fullbacks are actually being used in the NFL these days? I think Lipke's going to be a standout in the NFL because he'll play special teams and he'll be a contributor somewhere. I think we make it up as the end-all be-all to get picked, which it's a big deal. If you saw it on Friday night, how big a deal was for Cody Mauch. But if you don't, it doesn't mean it's over. There's plenty of guys that have made their way as undrafted free agents. I just think it's rare that the scouts and the people we talk to are off that much. And that ended up being the case on the Lipke front. Going back into the portal stuff, Don, for the longest time, players not getting paid was the way it was. That did not preclude you from expressing your opinion and ripping that system to shreds. I listen to you every day, and I cannot discern whether you think the current system where, through your own analysis, a player entering the portal 75% or more of the time that will end up with a worse position than they left with or absolutely nothing. Where's the tipping point where the advocacy for the athletes will begin to stop this extreme pendulum swinging? 2 points on that. Appreciate the email. Thanks for watching every day, too. One, the old system was horrible. Especially because it wasn't for every sport, having players have to sit out a year in football, in basketball, was dumb and penalized the athlete where coaches can go whenever and not have to sit. So that I always railed against. Second, because I've always been in favor of player movement. You want to go. If you don't want to be there, then go. But you do need to have some information on this. And I think it needs to be said when, and you looked at that list of names that we brought up earlier, that, okay, yeah, they're going somewhere else to play. But in your heart of hearts, do you think North Dakota State is a better spot than Coastal Carolina? And if so, give me the reasons why. Outside of location, give me a reason why. Because football-wise, it's not. Again, South Florida, location-wise, absolutely. No offense, I love Fargo. I've made it my home. Moorhead, I've made it my home. But you're telling me in South Florida, yep, that's probably going to win out. Colorado State, James Madison, you're not going to sit here and tell me they're better than Fargo. It's not. And I know they're both FBS schools. Colorado State is a dumpster fire with a capital D. And James Madison, while we've seen they had great success in FBS in year one, I think the same thing would happen here. I do. Call me a homer with a capital H if you want. I think that's the way it works. I just believe that. So for the players that have left, you got to give me something better than its location and more playing time. Because after that, I don't see that argument holding up. You can give me geography and maybe a chance to play more. But here's the thing with Courtney Eubanks and Dom Jones. They're starters. They play every defensive snap if they needed them in Fargo this upcoming year. So that part, sometimes it's just bad advice. And the more and more we're going to see by the side of the road being left with bad advice, I don't know if it'll scare them off, but at least give you a reason to think about it before doing it. We'll take our final break. We come back. We'll wrap the show. We'll get you ready for a great Sports Monday that's on tap. We'll do that one. Hot Mike Raps here on WDAY Extra, KSFL, and Inforum.com.
Our crews break down every angle of the biggest stories. WDAY News.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Cody Mauch.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers take Cody Mauch from North Dakota State and Hankinson, North Dakota. Now that it's over and done with, what's the reaction? What's the feeling?
Ready to freaking play football again. Now I'm just excited to just go down to Tampa Bay and actually play some football.
Count on the news leader, WDAY News.
Attention companies, schools, public and private organizations, and individuals. Get ready January 5th through the 15th in 2024 for Feed My Starving Children Fargo Pack at the Fargo Dome. They're aiming to pack 10 million meals for children in need across the world, and they need your help. Be a part of this incredible cause by becoming a sponsor, making a donation, or volunteering to pack. This event will bring together over a quarter of the greater Fargo-Moorhead area. Turn hunger into hope and get involved by visiting fargopack.org.
Touchmark at Harwood Groves is located in South Fargo, North Dakota, on a 14-acre garden-like setting. And we have everything from cottages to apartments, a health club, activities. We tend to take groups of residents out downtown, which is just a very vibrant and growing community. The easiest way I can say it is we are going to treat our residents the way that we would treat our best friends. That's what it feels like. And that's what I love about my job. It feels like a family.
I'm Naheem Hines, running back for the Indianapolis Colts and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan, and I'm 12 years old. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. MDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
For over 70 years, MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at MDA.org today.
911, what is your emergency?
Every day we encounter people who are having the worst day of their entire lives.
Does it get any easier?
Nope.
It takes a certain kind of person to run towards danger rather than run away from it.
Why is this job so important to you?
Growing up, I never saw any heroes who looked like me.
And that's what a hero looks like.
Help is on the way.
Sundays at 8 p.m.
Federal investigators blame human error for a deadly natural gas explosion.
We all remember where we were that morning.
we could actually see the smoke from our farm here, which is close to 20 miles away.
I started to pull right off the bat. Both tractors just kind of started to spin out, and those are big tractors. So I knew something wasn't right. Out of nowhere, I just heard a big boom. The tile plow ruptured into the pipeline. Once the gas got through the intakes of the tractors is when it ignited. As soon as I heard that boom, I started running as fast as I could. The ground literally started erupting from my feet.
They were highly respected and they were good at what they did. It was one of those accidents that, when it was done, made people step back and pause. If an accident can happen to them, it can happen to anyone.
Watch the rest of the story at 3secondslater.org. And remember, Farm Safe starts by contacting 811.
All right, wrapping up our spectacular here for a Monday. For our new viewers in Sioux Falls, yeah, this is what we do pretty much each and every day. Outside, they make fun of the fact that I don't know what I'm talking about, and we talk to some important people that think they do. After that, that's pretty much what we do each and every day on the show. Twins are off today. They'll be back in action tomorrow, as we mentioned earlier, as they open up a series with the White Sox. Be intriguing to see how that goes. Of course, Twins now down a couple of starters, we mentioned earlier, with Kenta Maeda and Tyler Mahle going down. I have yet to mention anything on the Minnesota Wild for good reason, because as we're driving back from Hankinson on Friday, Eric Bedell, Logan Campbell, and I are coming back, and I looked at Eric and like, Wild choke away again. And actually, Eric said to me, I actually invested in the Wild, and they blew it. And now he's officially, even though he's a Wisconsin guy, he can now claim something of Minnesotan to him by investing in a team and them letting them down. Because the Wild went out with a whimper in Game 6, losing to Dallas. And of all things, the Stars are going to play the Kraken because Seattle beat Colorado last night in Game 7. We didn't show you that earlier. Will Borgen's team, pride of the Spuds, first ever playoff series, much like what Vegas did a few years ago. They win and will play. Minnesota could have hosted Seattle. They could have had playoff games had they not stunk, had not Kaprizov, find the net with a searchlight, something they could have advanced on. Instead, it's Dallas and Seattle. One of those two teams will play in the Western Conference Final in the National Hockey League. And that pick I had, I actually might be right on this one. I said Edmonton, Toronto for the Stanley Cup. I said that to Schloss when he joined us before the playoffs started. I still got a chance. Edmonton and Vegas is one of the other series. That's going to be fun. The longer Connor McDavid plays, the better off for hockey because he's just brilliant to watch. Speaking of watching, let's get you ready for what to watch. We do this each and every day. Before we wrap the show, we've got another Game 7 tonight in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And boy, it's a good one. The Rangers and the Devils, 7 o'clock tonight on ESPN. The Rangers won Game 6 to get a Game 7. These two teams have quite the history with Game 7s, including 1994, Stephane Matteau, double overtime when the Rangers ended up winning the Stanley Cup. That's tonight on ESPN. Game 1, 76ers and the Celtics. This basically is the Eastern Conference Championship here. 6:30 tonight on TNT as they'll begin the second round of the NBA playoffs. Tonight, we know Miami beat the Knicks to start there. 76ers in Boston. No Joel Embiid likely for Philly tonight in Game 1. Also, for you NASCAR Rubes, they are racing today after the rain out yesterday in Dover. The Worth 400 will get going right here at the top of the hour. That's on Fox Sports 1 from the Monster Mile, as my dad would like to remind me because he's been there. 11 a.m. coming up on FS1. We got to go. Thanks to our guests today, to Jeff Kolpack and to Tyler Merriam. If you missed any of our show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. Congrats to our show for making it now in Sioux Falls. We're so glad we're joining you each and every day. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back here tomorrow on Hot Mic on WDAY Extra, KSFL, Inforum.com. Have a great Monday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Organize your outdoor living space with help from Menards. The Suncast Smart Track Hose Hideaway is designed to minimize clutter in your garden. It holds up to 225 feet of hose. Pick one up today for $54.99 after rebate. The Suncast 50-gallon deck box is perfect for patio cushions and outdoor accessories. It's low maintenance, easy to assemble, and offers the best combination of durability and value. Just $69.99 after 11% rebate at Menards.
Save big money at Menards. Gelman told me we're doing a remote in Palm Springs.
Is that true?
Well, we're working on it. Did you see how I just shocked you?
Yeah.
Next live, James Marsden from Jury Duty.
I'm a recognizable public figure.
Respectfully, I don't recognize you.
And Minka Kelly. Plus, Live is Emmy nominated for Outstanding Daytime Talk Series and Talk Series Host.
Weekdays at 9 a.m. on WDAY WDAZ. Catch Bison Softball on WDAY Extra. Watch NDSU take on the Omaha Mavericks in a doubleheader starting Friday at noon. Bison Softball only on WDAY Extra.
I've been a GH fan my entire life. I love the Tam fam. I still think about the time I was at Port Charles.
I don't believe it.
But you can believe our shows are on back-to-back. GH fans and the Tam fam love a good story.
Weekdays at 1 p.m. and 2 p.m.
When you fight fires together, you become a family. In this family, everybody comes home.
I'll take good care of you.
Get down!
Sometimes in the middle of it all, things change. All we have is each other.
I don't know where I'd be without you.
When it matters most.
We do it as a team.
We go in together, we come out together.
Weekdays at 7 p.m. and 12:05 a.m.
Happy Monday. Well, I look outside in downtown Fargo and once again seeing some sunshine out there this Monday morning. A few clouds once again, those cumulus clouds have appeared, but otherwise seeing some sunshine after a very chilly morning. We'll talk about some of those low temperatures we had this morning, although not record low. It was just a chilly morning, especially for the first day of May. The wind picks up. It already has picked up in a lot of spots. It will continue to increase as we go into the afternoon, and then we'll talk about the rest of the week and what that first full week of May brings in the 10-day forecast. We'll talk about it